Hey gang, welcome back to the Paladins Console League. My name is Prettier, hopping back in with Gore Miser to bring you our fourth set of, I believe, 7 today. We've got CycloneGG up against YCTG.
And this one's going to be a pretty important matchup again, just trying to measure out at this point who is going to be the team that can beat Flashpoint. You're trying to figure out where they all go down. This is where last week we would have seen like Atomic having his stellar performance, Flashpoint usually being able to beat everyone. So Cyclone is going to be able to step up. The same thing for YCTG.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get into this one without further ado. Did you guys see any Koga in those last couple of sets, or was he just banned out?
We've gotten one Koga, if I remember correctly. It was a couple games ago, and it was surprising to actually have him go through. It was Makoa Koga on the same team on Frog Isle, so
Koga.
You never know whether or not they can come through once again right here. It'd be YCTG to pick him up, but I have a strong feeling he's not going to make it through.
Strix banned away, Koga banned away. The sniper's not a big aspect of the console meta, except for on this map. This is one that I think we more often than not will actually see the sniper players come out. Only one is available here, and that's a big thing to talk about. If there is a squad that feels confident in it, it could be a big win condition for them.
I was surprised, and I like the way YCTG kind of approached their bans, especially after the first 3. You're going into that last one of, if we ban Makoa, they get Khan. If we ban Khan, they get Makoa. So they don't ban either. That way each team at least gets one. But again, I'm looking back. You get Khan and Nara plus insert healer here, and you're going to be completely fine.
They get the Kinessa as well, Gore. So things shaping up to be pretty lethal here for Cyclone. If they can just leverage all the win conditions they have the Inara, which is the best front line pretty much in the game at the moment for what she does. Kinessa, it's going to be hard to contest her right now. Not a lot of long range on Leon. I mean, maybe they pick up like a Cassie or something to round this out with. And it will be the Grover as well for Cyclone.
I don't mind this. We've been seeing a lot more, I think, of Grover lately, and I'm curious to see what his loadout is going to be because we've seen a couple of cards shifted away from, some shifted in favor of, going more for damage reduction on the Grover, which if I remember what Evan was saying earlier, and you do the math real quick, you pretty much have 2 seconds of your life every so often, I guess every 4 seconds, that is going to be when you are actually vulnerable. Otherwise, you always have 30% damage reduction as long as you're healing.
Pretty good stuff there from Grover. Could be very strong potential here. Guys, let us know in chat who you think is going to win this one based on the drafts on paper. Gore, do you have any sneaking suspicions?
I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards Cyclone, but mainly because Khan and Nara, unless they have a very bad performance, is going to even on an average day, is just a stellar front line to have and can usually hold on to the front no problem.
I like the idea of the Kinessa as well being drafted through without really much to contest it. We talked about the Leon is there. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of that weight is going to fall on Buck's shoulders, and Buck is just not a super popular character at the moment. He's really been struggling as of late. I think he's always been a bit of a risk on Frog Isle. There's definitely a bit of an execution threshold that has to be met, or else he just accomplishes nothing.
So we're not going to be seeing the loadout we saw earlier. It is going to be the typical Verdant Expanse at level 5, and with Efflorescence, that means he has 100% increase on that radius of healing, which means Grover, especially on a map like this, is going to be hard-pressed not to heal you as a teammate more than anything. So he has a lot of angles he can play with, especially with this axe, especially with the way his damage works. And just being able to find that, projectile, but it still flies straight, still flies true.
And right now, you're just seeing the range of engagement at the moment. You see how close Makoa feels like he has to get, how close Buck has to get. Khan Bomb King, one of the strongest little duos in the game, not only for its burst healing, but innate tankiness of both Bomb King and Khan, and the bonus damage. I mean, forget about it.
You see it right there, Centurio, as well as Tito going to be able to take him down. Cyclone, 67% over the 33 for YCTG. Again, a lot in their draft that could work well. Furia definitely enabling them, but when it comes down to it, it is all about performance. And as of right now, Cyclone is at the top.
And Frog Isle, a map that easily is snowballed. And I think at the end of the day, Cyclone, with a composition that's a little bit easier to snowball with. We talked about the Buck being difficult to pull off at times just because, especially given the nerf, this was pre-nerf Buck that still, I didn't think really succeeded very often on Frog Isle.
Again, this healing, the damage buff, and like you said, the innate tankiness. So the 2 champions that are just hanging out here. This staircase has been Cyclone's staircase the entire time. YCTG trying to figure out how to get back there. And even though Kinessa was picked up earlier, I feel like we haven't had much of a chance to talk about her because admittedly, there's not been much of an area she's been needed. All the close combat is being handled.
A lot of the sniper fights, I think, on Frog Isle happened through that little window, and nobody was really playing it. Where most of the people were kind of down in the pit, to be honest, behind trees, things like that, trying to stay out of line of sight of Kinessa. And, you know, because of that, that's a risk in and of itself just to play down and that aggressively. So if they want to play around the Kinessa that way, it's not exactly like they're going to come out of the other side for free.
T2 gets 3 in that engagement. All 3 deaths there for YCTG, going to get pushed away. And beautiful Grumpy Bomb placements, being able to kind of get it right at the angle. Does find the stun, and there's going to be the overpowered as well. So if you're looking for a good way to try and confirm a payload, this is probably the best way you could ever see it happen. Bomb King is perfect at holding this angle.
Here comes the Grumpy Bomb as well to try and zone back some of the pressure. Doesn't connect on anyone, but Centurio doing a good job just manhandling people. And that Lightment will pick up Nox Mave, but the support is not enough, and you can just look at where everyone's focus is. Nobody from YCTG will like really even realize that their payload was about to be converted.
We've seen it a couple times today, but looking at the fight when you need to be looking at the objective, that is one of the things that, honestly, in games like this, it's probably the most common occurrence in teams, and it is also probably the most #1 way teams lose. That
was hot.
Was hot.
That was hot.
Console players on Frog Isle, I will because I remember the Inara knocking herself up. I can't remember which player it was. I feel like it was an EU PS4 guy too, but just they know this map. They know how to get back up.
I mean, T2 playing, it's just showing he's playing on a high enough sensitivity to be able to even do that, right? And Bomb King is not a necessarily super whippy character like a Koga or an Andro or an Eevee might be considered. So it's crazy that he's able to pull that one off, and that was really, like, he was flirting with death there. The Immortal's going to come out, preventing a lot of the follow-up, but, you know, it only prevents you from going under 1,500 HP.
Yeah.
So Owned is still just taking damage that entire Immortal. He's really only saving Makoa's life, and that doesn't end up being enough.
And honestly, it doesn't seem like it's going to buy them a lot of time. The shield's going to come up, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Immediately burst it down. Bomb King's getting aggressive, does get stunned, but it doesn't matter, still finds the kill.
And I think if YCTG are going to want to succeed that way, Gore, like now they're using a Buck Wild without much behind it, right? Like, pop that Immortal, hit the Inflame Buck Wild as well, counter engage, right? You know, you want to counter with the Immortal out of the gate, but then you need to punch back, right? It's not enough just to sit on the ropes with your hands up. You have to swing back at your opponent.
And with the way things are going, Ancient Rage again, another one coming through where they get a little bit of pressure off of it, but honestly, I don't know how much of that was actually Clax and how much of that was elsewhere. Centurio looking like he might get low, but he's not dead. He's still alive. He gets healed just enough, but it's not going to be able to let him live forever. Now the King Bomb can come through, and this is going to be where it changes. With comeback mechanic, that 66% is going to be a big number.
Oh my god, another Seismic Crash comes through. There's no Immortal this time. T2 gets around the block as well. Leon unable to find Grover. So Nox Mave is going to be able to heal himself back up, and the rest of his team to boot, keeping the Bomb King alive. A lot of healing coming through here. Just over a 6-second cooldown on that heal. My goodness gracious. It's only 10 seconds at base. 5 seconds is the CDR cap in Paladins, about 50%. So he is cranking out the healing at the moment.
And again, having that just expanded radius on the heal, it's going to be hard for him, especially on a map like this, to find a position where he's not helping get that heal. And that's been enabling Centurio to get as aggressive as he has, Tito to get as aggressive as they have, just being able to press forward constantly, holding angles that YCTG normally would be able to feel safe on. Bomb King and this Khan are just shutting them down left and right.
I want to see the damage shards before I think this game comes to an end here. I don't know why I feel like the Inara is going to be fairly high. It's just
she's number 3.
Sitting in about 3rd place. Just watching her ultimates. I mean, she's had 2 this round already, back to 60% on her 3rd. It's pretty crazy. I mean, Teak is definitely brutalizing these frontliners, and that's something Inara can do fairly well. Nice shot there from Don Canolo on the Buck, and Gore, this just feels like a absolutely dominant performance by Cyclone.
I mean, with the way things are going, especially when you can get your Inara up on the charts like that, it's going to make it easier. There's the Immortal again, but that one's just to try and keep yourself alive for a little bit longer, and it doesn't last forever. T2 is going to be able to get that, and Cyclone just wipe him out.
I mean, I think better ultimate usage. I think just better execution on the team fights, as well as, again, Immortal's there to counter something, right? But then you have to counter punch, right? If you're all huddled up at 1,500 HP, if you're not swinging back with anything, then you're just all huddled up at 1,500 HP, and you're just kind of fish in a barrel at that point.
And, I mean, very similar to what we just saw at the tail end. You pop the Immortal, you stay alive a little bit, but like you said, if you don't have anything that pushes back, once it pops away, you're going to die. Like, there is guaranteed death at that point because everyone's looking at you. You're the only one standing on the payload. There's a Bomb King, there's a Kinessa, and they want you out of there.
I mean, you got the Solar Blessing. You could hit the Inflame at that point. Everyone can sort of just dip in, get their healing, and then they'll be ready to rock and roll. Ice Mines, that's where we will head next. YCTG fighting for their lives. Willow's going to stay banned out here. Cyclone, one more game to go, and they'll be good to call this one dusted. Khan will be banned out, though. Both blasters for YCTG. I like the bans, though, I think, on Ice Mines. The blasters, even, you know, considering Bomb King and Fernando in there, very, very strong.
And I like this, although I will say, for this set, my standard for Ice Mines games has been bumped by the Splice G2.
Oh, yeah?
So I have a feeling that unless one of these teams is just stellar,
I mean, I actually think the point fight, I actually really like watching a lot on Ice Mines.
It's always the push.
It's just the push. Yeah, it just feels...
It's like a fish market push.
Yeah.
You spend 2.5 minutes waiting for the next point fight.
Yeah, it's kind of dead. It's tough to get any good... I don't have any fights in memory that jump out at me during the push of Ice Mines, you know what I mean? It's all something at the point fight. And you know, obviously, people are using ults on the point. People are using ults near the conversion point.
Yeah.
So, obviously, some of the better fights are going to be happening there. But it feels like people almost don't even try to put up a fight during the payload push.
Now, I know Furia can be a strong healer. I know Torvald can be very strong depending on what he's paired with, so Cyclone do have to make something that kind of sweeps me off my feet for this last pickup. It's going to be the Zen. And I feel like that can work, but I mean, Bomb King, Anara, Makoa. Like, it doesn't even matter what I list after that. You just have to hear those 3 names. And to me, that means YCTG have a very incredibly strong lineup. It does come down to execution. Last game they had one that looked pretty decent, but it wasn't strong enough. So I'm curious to see how they're going to be able to hold it this time.
I think if this Grover positions properly, it could be a really, really good asset for the same reasons that it is on the Bright Marsh and the Jag. It's just almost everywhere that's relevant during the point fight you are being healed from. Guys, go ahead and toss a quick vote in chat and let us know who you think is going to win. I actually like YCTG's composition a little bit more. I think it's easier to pull off as well. I think the Tyra Marks, if they can pull that off well, that's going to be a big asset to them. Despite Cyclone clearly looking like the better team overall, especially in Game 1, on paper, I like YCTG's.
I think that's one of the big cases. On paper, in theory, their draft, I think, just hits harder and is a little bit better. But it does come down to how well they can truly play it. How well can you handle Tidou on that Vivian? How well can you handle Teak now switching over from the Inara onto the Fernando? And honestly, I'm looking at someone who was doing almost top damage on Inara. He's going to do insane amounts of damage as long as he can get his Fernando pretty much to the same level.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Mines is it's a really, really good map for Fernando. Everyone huddled in doorways and corridors about the size of the fireball projectile. How convenient is that, especially when it does more damage for each subsequent target that it connects with. And Bomb King pushing over here, looking for the first blood, doing a lot of good damage. Torvald hooked off the map. That's not a play you often see, but it's one hell of a way to start.
And it definitely adds insult to injury when you realize that Torvald, I mean, that Makoa was given because of the priority of Torvald. So Torvald going down very immediately. You lose shielding, and you lose a lot of your pressure. Don Canolo not able to get anywhere near as aggressive as he would have liked because he doesn't have that. And now Noxmave has a much more difficult job just trying to keep everyone alive.
And I mean, at the moment, this Bomb King is sort of holding it down. Hooks are landing as well. I mean, everything is happening at the moment for YCTG. They're going to grab the first payload of Ice Mines. Honestly, just off the back of 2 really good hooks.
Sometimes this is all you need. That's part of the reason Makoa's been banned for so long in so many games. It's just, when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter how much damage he can shoot with, what Ancient Rage does. You displace someone with that hook, and it opens up so much. Clack's finally going down. King Bomb going to be coming through, but Immortal going to get popped, and Teak is just on the retreat. This is a very similar thing we saw during last game, but Cyclone were the one punishing him.
I mean, Teak just needs help at this point. How many people has he slowed down? It was basically 1v5 up there. He absorbs the King Bomb as well, and he's still surging forward. Got to give a lot of credit to this Furia. She's giving him a lot of healing. Don Canola finally comes in and will find some of the frags.
Relatively clean point fight, but that doesn't always translate that well to the push. YCTG, I think, get up maybe a little bit overzealous. They pop a couple of ults, or at least just the one, maybe a little bit too fast to try and open that space, but they burn the Immortal. So I guess, again, you're looking at trade-offs, you're looking at control, and whether or not they're able to gain it. This is when Cyclone have to start pressuring them out. They needed to dismount maybe a little earlier because they didn't buy too much time off of this push.
And Torvald gets picked out. That's what you call, maybe not overzealous, but a little over-aggressive there. Torvald does not have any mobility, so yeah, I understand he wanted to be there for Xin, so Xin could maybe find a couple of opportunities to pick up a kill or two, but Xin gets out so much easier than Torvald. You got to be almost in the back line with your support as Torvald almost all the time.
Healing going to come through, and you can see those bombs essentially nullified. I don't think I've ever actually seen Bomb King plant 3 bombs and then just nothing out of it. It's just not the typical performance, which I think is more of a boon to Furia's healing. But here comes the Firebomb, here comes the Ancient Rage, here comes the aggression as YCTG get into the face of Cyclone.
A lot of damage coming out from this anchor at the moment, but no kills. A lot of space bot. One frontliner actually still falls despite all of that. And I don't know, this feels like it could be it. Anar getting some good damage on a Torvald here. One more burst should do it, but a lot of healing coming through the recharge as well. The Solar Blessing, it's all here for the front line. The wall goes up the last couple of seconds here. And Gore, the respawn proximity. You saw how far away that bomb, look at that silhouette way in the background there. That Bomb King is nowhere near this fight. I'll be surprised if YCTG can hang on long enough for him to even get here.
Nasty Pro tries to use the Whirlwind to keep everyone topped off. The front lines are still around, but they're starting to go down. And that's just the downside, like you said. Bomb King comes back. Oh, just a second late, too. Wouldn't have mattered, but almost gets there. And that is, I think, the best way to sum up an Ice Mines push. You get a pretty decent fight at the beginning. That gets you, or that gets things rolling. And then all it takes is really just a small slip up at the end, and you could lose the whole thing.
That's an 1100 damage Yomi swing when Don Canolo has the field study. Beautiful damage there. Let's take a look at the healing, though, because I feel like Nox Mave has done a really, really good job on this Furia of landing a lot of good beams. But look at Nasty Pro, even better job of keeping his squad alive to the tune of about 23,000 healing. And Evan was talking about earlier in his video, Vex highly regards Grover as pretty much the best support in the game at the moment, one of his favorites for sure. Maybe being slept on a little bit at the highest level of play.
I mean, it definitely is in that area where we've seen him, I want to say floated around, but it feels like people consider him a risk, where the reward is an insane amount of healing, but the risk is that you might just die a little bit faster than you want. You might not get all of the healing that you need. Although when you have a good player, it does make the difference. Right now, you can see good point fight really makes the difference on Ice Mines. I have no idea Cyclone are going to even be able to get back to the point.
What a flip-flop here. I mean, Cyclone absolutely handled YCTG in game number 1. But now here on Ice Mines, it's looking like a fairly different story. I mean, YCTG almost got the conversion. Fernando looking like he's going to make a shot and getting back to this objective, but he gets dismounted, slowed down, and Nara not interested in letting anyone through today. No one is welcome on her objective. And Fernando will simply fall. The payload captured yet again by YCTG.
Owned by Atomics getting aggressive. Centurio going to get caught out. Don Canolo caught out. All of them on the side of Cyclone just, it seems almost unable to get aggressive as of right now when you're trying to fight this draft. And I think, admittedly, that's what happens when you have Inara, when you have Makoa, and when you have Bomb King on one side. A couple of hooks, maybe just not dying, admittedly, from the Inara is making the biggest difference.
Inara Makoa with the Grover getting as much healing as he is currently. I mean, it's all good, baby. It's all gravy. And while the frontline damage isn't the biggest storyline, obviously, in almost any case, the hunting party marks are you know, it's 25% more for that Inara, for that Makoa. It means more seismic crashes. It means more ancient rages. It's definitely something that Tyra brings to the table. Phoenix talked about it a little bit. You know, when you're lacking damage, Tyra is just another solid pick that can bring more sources of damage. When even, you know, Fernando and Inara, like we said, not a lot of DPS. Most front lines sit around 600 to 800 DPS or so. So, I mean, 25% added onto that puts them just about 1,000 DPS, and that's, you know, that's ruckus level damage. Fernando is top at the charts right now.
being able to hold on to it again. I'm expecting with the way Teak played last game, he should be at the top of the chart with Fernando, but it's just so difficult to make it showcase that skill when you're having the point fight so far that you've seen out of Cyclone, although it does always end up coming down to one. The question is whether or not they can keep up enough defenses to make that difference.
And that Solar Blessing right there, that's a big part of why Teak, I think, has been able to get top damage, because he can just be so reckless. And it simply doesn't matter. He can get up in anyone's face, throwing out fireballs to his heart's content. That Solar Blessing was just a second too late. Or else it would have been rinse repeat. He would have gotten healed back up to full, dumping more fireballs all the while.
30 seconds left makes YCTG have to push at this point. Overtime is definitely not as comfortable on Ice Mines as it is on any other map, although I don't think it's ever comfortable. T2 gets taken down. They're starting to get aggressive. If they can get this push, it's going to give them a lead, but they do have to be as controlling on the next point fight as they were for this one. They can't afford to let Cyclone in, because with comeback mechanic on this map, they'd be fine. Of course, you have to be pushing the payload if you want it to get anywhere.
Overtime.
Last couple of seconds. Now we head into overtime. Teak just absolutely deleted Gormaz. Look at all the ultimates for YCTG as well. I mean, if they spend these well and get effectiveness out of them, I don't know. This looks like it could be a conversion.
Shield going to come up. That's going to keep them health.
Wow,
No one's touching the payload. That's twice now that someone's been ignoring it. First it was YCTG. They get it right before overtime. And then Cyclone are looking everywhere for the kills. That's been the gist of today, I feel like. Every single game, or at least every set, I feel like there's been a single moment where it's just like, why are you not looking at the objective?
Somebody blanks on the objective, and that's going to be a 3-1 lead now for YCTG. 7-3 on the Inara. I mean, look at her go. A couple of ultimates spent there down the line, and the Inflame getting no effectiveness. I'm not sure if the Crossfire obviously didn't get any kills, but that may have had an impact in terms of just buying space and people's just inherent reaction to want to back off once they hear the Crossfire being popped. So maybe that has something to do with nobody being there to contest the objective.
They're going to get there a little faster. Here comes Inara, owned by Atomics. Being able to set up a lot of that healing is going to make the big difference for it. Honestly, this could have been a kill otherwise, but because of that, this is going to start it up. Hyper Beam going to come through, and that's at least going to get rid of Clax.
It's a big kill. We talked about the Hyper Beam being effective on the Ice Mine's point. Now we actually get to see it in action. Good damage coming out here on Torvald as well. Look at that, one-tapping the shield basically. Oh my goodness. If Ernest Degen, that's one hell of a name to try and say, but if he's able to continue just to get to his spot, not missing a single bomb all the while, how can Cyclone even have a hope?
I mean, right now, they're not extinguished, but it's definitely not coming through very happily. There's going to be Tito taken down. Don Canolo, that shield is probably his only saving grace. This is why CTG, I mean, this has just been dominant from pretty much draft to now. They've been able to hold on to this entirety of the match.
Boxing his way out with Torvald. Ancient Rage is available, but look at all the damage. Makoa actually goes down. It's too late, though. Fernando forced into Immortal, just a couple of steps shy of the objective. He wasn't able to make it there to get the overtime started, and that's going to force the game number 3.
Being able to come through, I feel like, again, it just comes down to drafting. It was a lot stronger overall on one side, and when they were executing it. I think that's really the follow-up is, on paper it looked really good, and then in actuality it looked even better. They were able to come through, find a lot of kills with Bomb King, a lot of really well-placed hooks, and it all staggered off of First Blood, which was that Torvald pluck right off the edge of the map.
Get owned, chat. I tried to tell you, YCTG, just the better comp that time around. You guys should maybe listen to me more often. Stone Keep. That's map number 3. Serpent Beach and Bright Marsh were banned out. This is where we will come to an end. One way or another, somebody is going home with a W in the column today. Cyclone with the first pick, first ban. Willow will stay gone this whole set long. Koga as well. Drogos has been another very popular ban, but it will be the Torvald this time around, which has made it through every other game.
And I like this adaptation. I think it's one of those things on certain maps. Ice Mines was a good showing. It wasn't really worthwhile, but if you give them to the right team on the right map, and this is one of those maps, a flank with a Torvald bubble can make the difference. Androxus is someone who we've seen usually apply that, but I feel like it works for pretty much anybody who you want to give bonus damage to.
Well, the Bomb King has been a big win condition for either team so far today. Condenara, again, Cyclone looked incredible with those two front lines. Instead of the Grover, they go to Furia this time. They can play around those solar blessings very effectively. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to call that a mispick. Again, a lot of front lines locked down early on. The Bomb King versus the support. That's the only difference in these two drafts so far.
Being able to pick it up. Now Grover coming through on this map once again, who I think is being highly valued right now.
Highly undervalued?
Undervalued in some areas, highly valued in this last set, I would say, at least being picked up, I think, by both teams now. And Buck coming through. I feel like, again, Khan and Nara Furia, it's very hard to count those last two and really think it matters, because once you have those first three, the core of your team is set. But I'm not really sold on Buck just yet. I need to see this performance be perfect for Cyclone, or else it's all gonna fall apart.
There is a light at the end of that tunnel. I hear what you're saying for sure. But you look at, you've got the firing line, you've got Buck Wild, you've got Inflame, you've got Hunting Party. If that all lines up, good luck, YCTG. And the thing that I think makes me confident in it is that given game one, the ultimate executions and working together as a team was very strong from Cyclone. Not so much on the ice mines, but that's just because I feel like they got out-drafted, right? There wasn't a lot more that could be done. And even during that loss, right? You look at the ITEEK and the Solar Blessings, like the relationship between that Fernando and that Furia, that was even really good. Even though that they were losing the entire game, he was still top damage. They were still really on point, synergizing well together. And I think if they can execute this draft, there is stupid amounts of bonus damage hidden throughout. That there's just going to be so much burst potential, it's going to be very difficult to weather that storm.
Solar Blessing once again going to be coming through, and I feel like there's two styles right now. Well, there were two styles at one point. You would go for Cherish, and then you'd be able to pick up a morale boost. But once you go Solar Blessing, you need that Chronos to be able to try and get that cooldown off a little bit more. But Centurio, ITEEK, both of them, more often than not, going to live through most of these engagements. The big questions are Don Canolo, Tidu. How can they perform? Cyclone, 100% chance of success.
Wow. According to chat, I'd be curious to see how many people vote in these polls, too. We've had very clean percentages throughout the day. Literal hundreds of people thought that only Cyclone was going to win. Wow. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it then. First blood is going to be drawn here for Cyclone, but it's quickly traded out. Centurio just walking down V-Clax on this Makoa. My goodness. He's getting it done here, and now more and more kills are coming through here. What'd you like about that first fight, Gormizer?
Just how clean-cut Cyclone looks. It's very similar to what we saw in the first game. It's actually similar to what we saw out of YCTG during the last game, but it's just being able to dominate it and fight on multiple fronts, although that's going to be a little, not necessarily sloppy, but they're going to end up letting one person through, mounted up. If that makes a big difference, we'll have to see. But YCTG still have the opportunity to touch down, stop at least a little bit of the pressure. It's just trying to get back in control that's going to be the big issue.
Seismic Crash already charged. It's the first ultimate charge in this game. I don't understand how that's happening, but it is. And I feel like, Cyclone has a lot of good opportunities there, I think, to lock this down sooner. It gets a little bit hairy down the stretch, but Don Canolo hits the crossfire and puts a nice little capstone on this team fight. And Nara, I think if you get your ultimate charge that fast, no one's going to be ready for that, right? Use that. Use the fact that you're owning at the moment. You've got your ultimate charge faster than anyone else in the game on a Nara.
I was in that awkward position of you have pretty much no health. Do you get aggressive? But I'm with you. I think I would have liked to see ITEEK throw that as hard as he could against the wall. Yeah. Could have saved his life, but also would have set up his team.
The second Fernando gets pushed back into the keep there, right when him and Grover are in the corner, I think that's an easy call. You just call the collapse on that. They're going to be both stunned. They're going to have taken the 500 damage from Seismic Crash. It was, a good window of opportunity. And windows of opportunity with this composition for Cyclone we talked about. That's going to be so important for them going forward.
A lot of it does fall down in certain, I want to say, bonus damage areas, although so far it doesn't seem like they need it too much. They're dealing just enough damage as it is. Long range Centurio back on the con, looking like he is just as comfortable as he was earlier.
Ooh, nice little commander's grab there. And Bomb King, he dies midair, but he would have sent himself off the map anyway. And it's just taking turns at this point. That wall definitely shuts down the shell spin there. Here comes the next Buck Wild as well. 95% gore. If he gets this off, it could be trouble.
Just trying to hold on right now. Whirlwind did come through, trying to hold on to things. There's going to be the King Bomb going maybe a little bit too deep. Doesn't actually get to go off. And so that damage is going to be nullified. Now they're just throwing bodies at the payload, but it doesn't seem to be doing too much. IT throws up the wall, full health once again, and they're picking up kills.
There it is. There's so much bonus damage. You saw a Tyra Mark come out at the same time as the Enflame. And this Inara is bursting for almost 300 a pellet. That's 900 damage a burst. Don Canola goes down in the back line. Inara still here, still healthy. But at this point, Mako is so healthy. The respawns are going to be so in favor of YCTG. I don't see how they don't stabilize this.
I mean, as long as they can hold on to it, Centurio's shield is more or less taking all the damage. 30 seconds left, so you have some time to regroup. Cyclone just have to figure out how to stay alive. Centurio taking maybe too much poke before the fight begins, owned by Atomics. Might get credit, honestly, for saving the round if they can hold on to it, but it's not going to be enough. Owned by Atomics is gone.
10 seconds left on the clock. Fire Strike is going to be good. It's going to make it to Khan. Heal him up to full. Look at this. Tito gets to the high ground. Tito finds 2. Tito finds 3. That is the full 5-for-0 ace with no ultimates used. CycloneGG. They just find a way to get it done, and now they're starting to look like they deserve that 100-0 vote here, as Tito sitting 10-1 after the first round on Buck.
I want to go back to the numbers you were saying for Inara. If we just ignore everyone else and you just add in the fact that with the damage buffs, she's doing 300 pellet, that's pretty much the exact same you're seeing out of like a Victor. Victor's going to fire a little bit faster,
Victor.
But he is still going to be 300 a shot for the burst mode. Then you add in Don Canolo being able to hit that 100's mark and apply even more damage from him. And then the fact that Tito's 10-1, the fact that Tito is just getting in people's faces with the shotgun, hitting headshots left and right, it becomes a very, very steep hill YCTG have to climb in order to just match what Cyclone is doing.
Wow, and that overpower, not even really necessary. That Bomb King was dead to rights. He was so far out of position. Seismic Crash comes out here just to keep adding flames to the fire. Don Canolo finds the triple kill and the full cleanup here. Every ultimate used, though, for Cyclone, they managed to get, I think, a couple out of YCTG. Only the Sentinels and the Whirlwind are ready at the moment for the take-back.
And honestly, as Vivian, I don't know if you ever feel really safe popping your Sentinels. It's just one of those things, you've been dying so often, and honestly, because of the fact that they really depend on your life more than anything, I feel like you can't be truly confident popping that. They are going to be coming out. They're going to try their best to use this ult and make the difference. But with a Firebomb, even with a Whirlwind, I don't know if that's going to be enough as long as they can keep the damage application up.
Pretty decent cauterize there. Buck managing to stay alive. Good damage coming out of Don Canolo here. The Immortal is popped, but the Firebomb is there as soon as this Fernando comes out of his Immortal. Bomb King trying to pick up this kill onto Furia, unable to do so. Vivian's healthy. Cyclone stealing away, though. No, Gore, and the fight was going YCTG's way anyway. Oh, if they could have just started the overtime there. And that's, again, another instance of just a lack of objective awareness.
And honestly, I genuinely think today we could have a 2-minute montage of teams not paying attention to the point or to the payload. It's happened just enough times that I honestly, I feel bad harping on it, but you can't win the game if you're not looking at the objective. It's not team deathmatch. It doesn't matter how many kills you get. You're going to have to hold on as long as you can to make that big difference. And with the way things have been going, I have no clue if YCTG are going to be able to step up to it, especially after that.
140 on the clock now as CycloneGG continue their medal march towards their final objective. 130 left on the clock to try and do so. A couple of ultimates starting to come up for them as well. And last time they were able to do it without ultimates. So if they can end the game here and spend ultimates, I think they're definitely going to do so. And I think we're going to see an even more dominant fight come out of them this time than last.
Centurio getting taken down, though, I think does put a little bump in the road overall for Cyclone. Maybe not enough to make the big difference, but they're definitely getting zoned a little bit harder now. It's going to be up to just a couple of kills coming through to make the big difference, whether or not they can get aggressive. Double shields going up right there. Vivian's going to last a little bit longer than Fernando's. But Cyclone, I mean, they're stacking up in a corner for you. You can get aggressive. You could probably kill off 2 or 3 right here.
I mean, the overpower is ready. If Centurio wants it, the Fernando shield was down. 300 a shot from Khan. Bomb King is gone off the map. You're looking at a double kill now for Khan. Grover's marked up. I mean, with each one of these front lines popping you for 300 damage a bullet, this is not easy, man. You got to be very careful, even with just Khan and an R around. They could really burn you down quickly.
Rakan is absolutely one of the champions you have to keep your eyes on, but they still have Inflame, they still have the Crossfire, they still have a Buck Wild. And if you pop all three of those around the same time, that is going to be a lot of kills, and that's going to be the gas pedal. At least on 2 of them. No Inflame just yet, but it doesn't matter.
Man, they just ran him over. 1,200 damage. Non-headshot. That was it, Gore. The Tyra mark was out. He had the Inflame. He didn't have the Calm Battle Shout. That could have boosted us up maybe over 1,400 damage. 1,215 body shot from that Buck there. They just hit the gas. That's what I'm saying, though. That comp, if you can line up all those little ducks and then just hit the go, oh my god, they just absolutely steamrolled. There was no chance in hell that YCTG were able to stop that.
It's not often that Buck gets to change out his bullets for actual monster trucks, but he was able to do it that time around.
Yeah, so let's head to the standings after that conclusion of that 3-game set between Cyclone and YCTG. You're seeing Cyclone now go up 2-1. YCTG still looking for their first win. Will fall down to 0-3.
Because of the set we actually got to watch earlier, Flashpoint still undefeated, Brutal Fissure now 1-2. Their opportunity to maybe tie up or actually be above Cyclone, I guess at this point, would have been right there. But unfortunately for them, they just didn't have what it took to withhold the onslaught that was Flashpoint.